How do you avoid buying fakes when purchasing collections or just shoes in general? What is up, guys? Cam's Kicks here. In this video, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me some questions. So I'm going to be answering those right now. So this first one comes from Low Country Resell. He said, how do you avoid buying fakes when purchasing collections or just shoes in general? So a lot of times when I'm buying shoes, I always want to ask the seller for a lot of pictures just so I can look over everything and make sure that it looks authentic and stuff. But then again, some always do slip through and they're hard to tell from photos. Most of the time I have to see them in person to see if they're real or not. But I try my hardest to tell right through the pictures. And I always legit check everything before I post it, so you guys never have to worry about that. And another thing I would say is just make sure you always buy from reputable sellers. If it's someone that's not very reputable, I would say most of the time you want to stay away from them. And just always make sure to really legit check everything before and after you get it in. So that's my best advice for that. This next one comes from Clay Corkin. He said, you got any size 10 dunks? I don't currently have any size 10 dunks. I have a pair of Chunky Dunkies coming in this week, so I will have one later this week, but at the moment I don't. This next one comes from Edgar Kicks. He said, how old were you when you started reselling? I want to say I was around 15 or 16. I'm thinking probably 16, so it was right around the end of 2018 that I started reselling, and I'm 18 right now, so. This next question comes from Two Tray Kicks. He says, what was your biggest come up and the biggest loss you took? So the biggest come up, one I can think of off the top of my head, is I had a pair of Sean Wotherspoon Air Max 197s. I paid $490 for them a little bit after they came out, and I had them for a little while, and then right after Sean Wotherspoon announced that he wasn't going to be with Nike anymore, his contract ended with them, the prices on them started to skyrocket. I ended up selling it for $890, so that was a quick $400 profit that I made. That's just one that I can think of off the top of my head. I know I've made a lot more than that. There's a lot of times, like during trades, that I can make a good profit off of, so it just really depends. There's a lot that I've made a really good profit off of, but that's just one that I can think of off the top of my head. And then the next part of the question is the biggest loss I've taken. Unfortunately, taking losses is just another part of the game. I have taken a lot of losses over the years. One I can think of is I bought a fake pair of Off-White UNC 1s for like $700. I pretty much lost all my money on that, so that one was pretty bad. And I bought a fake pair of brand new Bred 1s at a sneaker show. I paid $400 for them, so that was another bad loss. I told you guys a few videos ago about someone that I bought a bunch of shoes from. There's 7 pairs of brand new shoes from, and 6 of them were fake, so that was around $4,000. I put in the claim with PayPal and everything, and they finally said that I could get my money back. I just needed to return the shoes to the seller. So I did that and everything, and they got delivered, and the money wasn't being released, so I called them, and they said that anything over $750, you have to add a signature confirmation on the tracking, and unfortunately I didn't realize that, so I didn't do that. And even though it says delivered on the tracking, they wouldn't release my money, so I had to put in a claim with my bank now, and I'm still waiting back to see what they say. So that unfortunately might be the biggest loss I'll take if they can't get my money back, but I'm still hoping that I can get the money back on that. So yeah, this next question, there's actually 2 questions from him, from Crep Chamber. He said, how was your first couple months in reselling? They were pretty good. I mean, it always started off slow, and then you always have to gradually build it. I started off buying pairs from the Nike outlet, so that was pretty good. I was selling them on like GOAT and StockX. And then his other question is, how long did it take for you to grow your Instagram account? I don't have an exact time frame. I've been posting shoes on Instagram for a couple years now, so I mean, that's how long it's taken to build it up to where I am now. But yeah, I don't know an exact time frame of how long it took to build it up, like, decently, I guess, if that's the question. This next one is from the Dummy Zero. He says, do you cop for retail or nah? I do sometimes. I try to get stuff for retail as much as I can, but just like everyone else, I can't get everything for retail. A lot of times I'll strike out. So one strategy that I'll do a lot of times is right as they come out, I'll buy it from people that got them for just a little bit over retail. That way I can still get them for not a crazy amount, and then I can still resell them. So I'll pay a little bit over StockX payout. And yeah, that's basically what I do for that. So this next question comes from Bricks to Hype Plug. He said, watch all your videos, they fire. When you have lots of inventory, is shelves good or no? Thanks for watching the videos, man, really appreciate that. And yeah, when you have a lot of inventory, you definitely want to have shelves. Before I moved here to Pennsylvania, I had all my stuff in like my dad's old office, and it was just like piled to the ceiling basically, and stuff would always fall over and it would almost tumble down like every day, so it just wasn't a very good setup. So now that I have all the shelves in my storage room, it's definitely a lot better setup, so I'm glad to have that. This next question comes from Andrew Fowler. He says, how did you start at age 16? Like, were you flipping used pairs or cooking releases or bricks? So this is something I want to talk about in an upcoming video. I don't want to talk about it too much in this one, but I definitely want to talk about it more in the future. And I briefly just went over it a little bit, so I'll give you guys a little bit of details in this video. So basically I got into shoes from my friend liking them. I got into them from him. A little bit later, I want to say probably about a year later, I realized there was a resale aspect, so I started buying shoes at the Nike outlet for pretty cheap. This was in like 2018, so there was still a lot of good deals at Nike outlets. Now honestly you can't find much stuff at Nike outlets unless you're really lucky. But yeah, I was selling all that stuff on GOAT and StockX, so I was making a pretty good profit. And then eventually I started buying used pairs too. Like I would go on Facebook Marketplace and buy used pairs from people locally. And I also was buying a couple like used mystery boxes and getting some decent stuff in there. So I just kind of grew it from there and just kept doing my thing, and then just eventually grew to where I am today. So this next question comes from Josh Halsek. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I don't really know how to pronounce it. He said any bots. I'm guessing he's meaning, do I use any bots? And I've never used any bots. When I buy stuff for retail, I just get lucky on sneakers, or I've camped out for stuff before too. So yeah, I don't use any bots. And yeah, that's all the questions I'm going to be answering today. So comment down below if you guys like this video, and please make sure to like, comment, and share this video. And if you're not already subscribed, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, please make sure to follow me on Instagram at camskicks.sc. Thank you guys, and have a great night.